Hey guys, welcome back to Challengestone number 2. Crip and Artosis here. We're going into the final match of the day, unfortunately, of course. We'll see Freshka in Challengestone 3, so that'll be a lot of
And
fun.
it's
But
not just tomorrow.
yep, I can't wait for that. Really exciting decks. But we do have the defending runner-up going
That's
up
right.
against Kaldi now. So
That's right.
Trump versus Kaldi matchup. Pretty excited to see what these guys end up drafting.
Yep. The winner of this match will play against Noxious actually
Mhm.
tomorrow for the final spot of the tournament. Um, yeah, we haven't seen too much of Kaldi in the crazy deck thing, but I did get a chance to talk to him. He did seem pretty excited about this. One of the most excited players to participate in this. So I am hoping for some great things here. We did have the players make the decks earlier. We do have footage of them building the decks. So why don't we just get into that real quick? And again, it is the true Highlander form, so they have to use 3 decks of the same class in conquest format,
Mm.
and 1 copy of each card across all 3 decks. So if you use looks like we have a Warlock from Trump. Not many people are too surprised, probably. Ogre
Mhm.
Brute. So he has Ogre Brute in this deck. So that means he can only have 1 copy of Ogre Brute, and he can't have any other copies in his other 2 Warlock decks. Are you surprised to see Trump resort to Warlock so quickly?
No, no. Trump has always really liked playing Warlock decks. He's always been, in my opinion, a very, very good Zoo player. Even back at the beginning of Hearthstone, I felt like he was definitely one of the best Zoo players out
Yeah.
there. Just very smart trades and all that, which is a big part of playing it. So, not surprised. And again, this is like exactly what I was thinking was go with Warlock with this challenge. And it looks like both of them so far are going for that. And with over 5 minutes already used, I think we're going to see Warlock versus Warlock here.
I think a lot of like in some challenges, you just kind of have to put the deck there and then make some adjustments. But I think with this challenge, especially because players were given 35 minutes to come up with the 3 decks,
Hmm.
um, there is some merit to just taking some time to figure out what's good. I think
Yeah.
you have 5 minutes to figure out what your best class is going to be.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that you have to have like a kind of an inspiration as well for like the three archetypes that you might make. So I'm not sure how much time you really have
Hmm.
to think that all out, but I think you need to have a plan going in. If you just start putting in cards, I think you're going to get like a lot of overlaps and whatnot. I know that if I was doing this, I would definitely have some salty dogs in my decks. I really feel that because it's like so hard to keep in mind the three completely different decks. So
Yeah.
be interesting to see how these decks line up and how these decks line up with Eloise's Warlock as well.
Yeah, at least his work didn't work out too well, but we kind of identified the mistakes.
Mm.
So it'll be interesting to see if those mistakes are repeated or not. Again, on paper, it does seem like Warlock is a good class. It does seem like you can make 3 good decks out of it, but stacking a few decks did not seem to play out very well for Eloise.
Mm. Well, we'll see how these guys end up going. Of course, like I think the hard thing with Warlock is going to be that. Well, I guess with any deck it will be the third deck because like control cards and aggro cards don't overlap too much. So those two are
Yeah.
always going to be made very quickly. But what is the third deck in a more successful than what Eloise did type of Warlock setup? Do you think, Crip?
I think you can make what she was trying to do, like
Hmm.
a mech deck, a general zoo deck, and a control deck. But I
Yeah.
think you have to split the burst a little bit.
Hmm.
I don't know if that'll really work because I think if you have not enough burst, it might just not work in 2 decks. But I think that's still a better chance than stacking all the burst in 1 deck.
Yeah. I'm kind of like thinking about it, and I think I don't know if I would have been able to come up with this because like more ideas come to me as we sit here and watch and cast and think and talk about it. But I feel like maybe like a very bursty, very aggro deck, and then maybe like a more robust, like death rattly type or something like that.
Hmm.
Don't know if that's what they'll end up going for. But
Well, Right now we're going into like the finishing touches for Trump. He's just kind of
Yeah,
going through the decks, balancing the cards. So I'm happy to see him at this stage already.
yeah, and I don't think we're gonna see any anima golems once again, unfortunately.
I don't actually think Anima Golem is that bad of a card. I think it actually works with some synergies. Like for instance, Nerubian Egg is a good card,
Mhm.
and it's unlikely it's going to get silenced. It's unlikely your opponent's going to kill it, and you're going to have some issues activating it because you're going to have to run far fewer activators in these decks. So Anima Golem kind of works with that. It works with a few cards similar to that. I don't think it's really like a dud, you know?
Okay.
Not as big of a dud, at least as some people may believe.
Yeah, well, I still have hope. There's still 10 minutes remaining in their deck construction. I'd love to see that card actually played for once, but
Yeah.
we'll see. It does look like both of them are gonna have basically a handlock deck that's like
Yeah, I
kind of
mean that's what
straightforward
we
there.
expect. I mean, yeah, you
Yeah.
have to have a slow deck, you have to have a fast deck. It's really what you make of that third one and how you balance them out.
Mm,
You have to take like a lot more of a hybrid approach to them, I believe.
yeah. Well,
I'd like
I
to see the
mean,
Demon Dragon though. That looks good. I mean,
yeah.
you don't have full synergy. You can't make like a full Demon Warlock because you're missing demons because you can only have one copy of each. And dragons are kind of the same thing. There's not enough. So having both, I mean, that might really work out.
Yeah, it could. Like it seems like the dragons he's going to be using are just going to be like more of the late game.
Hmm.
Like yeah, he has Hungry Dragon it seems, but other than that in Azure it's just like the crazy finishers like Nefarian, Cro-Magnus and
I mean, that's just how you make
yeah,
dragon decks these days.
I guess
Blizzard,
so.
Blizzard did not do us the courtesy of making like spider tank quality dragons.
Well, where's that fairy dragon at, man? That thing counts.
Does it?
It
That
does.
card
It's a
kind of
dragon.
sucks, I
Yeah,
guess.
but it activates Rend and it activates Mini Fire Alley. So
Yeah, but when it activates those, you kind of don't play it, and when you don't play it, you have a bad early game.
yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
Yeah.
I guess you just have to treat it as like a lightning bolt. I don't know. It's just
I don't know.
eh. Well, it
Kaldi's
looks
struggling
like
a lot to balance out his decks, though. He's like
yeah.
just going through and through again and again and again and again. When I was like trying out the challenge, I was just adding cards and then checking if they were on the other decks when I added them. I think that's a slightly safer approach.
Mhm.
And
And
I
yeah,
think
doing it all at the end is probably very, very stressful. And I think that's part of
yeah,
what he was doing there for sure. He's like, "Oh God, do I have any?" And you just gotta. Thing is, the amount that we all look at deck lists so much, it's I don't know. It's very hard to
to
look at
spot
a
these
deck
things, right?
list. It's yeah, because you're so used to looking at deck lists, but always seeing the same cards. So to see that and then have that click in your brain,
Reverse, right?
yeah, it's reverse of what you normally look at. Normally you look at it, you're like, okay, this is two cards off of what I normally have in my hunter,
Right, right.
something like
Well, I do believe he struggled quite a bit to make his deck legal, let's say.
that.
And we did have a chance. I had a chance to talk to the players right after they finished building the decks. So we'll go over that a little bit, and we'll see what they have to say about the tournament and their spot in it. So let's get to that. And here we are with Trump, just after the deck building process. How do you feel, Trump? You feel good about things?
Well, I mean, when you said it was going to be 45 minutes, I thought, okay, easy peasy. I
35.
actually, I went and like built two of the decks in like 5 minutes, and yet I still almost ran out of time. Yeah, so tough challenge.
How was that like? Why did it lead to that point? What was the part that took so much time? Because you said after 10 minutes you had two decks ready.
Yeah, tough part is like you can come up with 60 good cards, and then when you get to building the third deck, you start to cannibalize into your other decks. And since this
Yeah,
is in the conquest format, you have to make sure all your decks are passable.
yeah. Do you feel one deck is weaker than the others, or do you think you did a pretty good job of balancing their strengths?
I think I spread them out pretty well. I thought the class I picked, Warlock, was really strong. I would be surprised if certain people. I would be surprised if certain classes came up, like Hunter or Warrior, which a lot of this is going to have to do with a good hero ability, I think.
Hmm. Don't you think with maybe the game being slowed down because it's harder to make a consistent deck, even if you make an aggressive one, that the Hunter hero power gains value if you just slow down the game enough, it leads to more of it?
Huh, that's an interesting thought. Maybe. I didn't think that you could build 3 aggressive enough decks, though.
Hmm. That was kind of my thought as well. So, I mean, that's why no classes are banned. I couldn't really figure out if one was stronger than the others. But you are the second player so far to pick Warlock, so it does seem to be the most populous one. Certainly a strong one. Um, Now, in terms of the cards, you did have a little bit of a slip up. You do have to substitute your 2 loot hoarders with 2 salty dogs, but I feel Warlock actually is the most forgiving one to the mistake function of the challenge. As with Warlock, you often can float dead cards. How do you feel it affects you?
I feel a little bit salty on it. So the
Salty.
thing is, I included Loot Hoarder in 2 of my decks because I was looking for early game plays. So the 2-drop is really important, and having 2 of the decks, which rely on having something early, is going to hurt. I already thought that I was having too few 2-drops, and to have like 2 of those removed hurts a bit, especially when you stab me with a salty dog, but we'll have to make do.
I am happy to see. Again, I did a few runs of this deck. We've already seen quite a few decks, but I am happy to see some of the surprising cards when I see them. Like Blood Knight, I think is again very strong in this format. Just because one, it's early game, but two, people are just going to have to play some good overall cards, and that does include the Divine Shielders. So very happy to see that. Also, Lore Walker Cho. Maybe you can talk us through that one.
Sure. Once again, I bring my experience from all the way from the start of Hearthstone. And in Zoo, at one point or another, you ran Lore Walker Cho because it ran almost no spells. In the Zoo deck, there's only 1 spell, Power Overwhelming. So it's there. It's like a shield bear. It can get buffed. It might be a bad choice, but hey, it's too fun not to include.
Now, lastly, I want to know how you feel against the line of players. You first got to go through Kaldi, and just how you feel about the tournament. You felt somewhat confident in the last one. You ended up almost taking it, very, very nearly, in fact. Do you think we're going to see a repeat, or maybe you'll do a little better this time?
I think I brought a really strong class, and the 3 decks I made, like minus the Loot Hoarder, I think they were about as strong as you can make them. I featured my Warlock Zoo play in the last tournament, and this tournament I get to bring the one thing I always want to bring to tournaments, 3 Warlock decks. So, hey, this was like built for me. I had a lot of good ideas because I've had so many cards that I've always wanted to throw in Warlock decks, and I can bring 3 of them into a tournament. Like, this seems like a slam dunk.
A slam dunk. Well, it's a good thing we made your dreams come true. Let's see if they go all the way. So here we are with Kaldi. Took a look at your decks. Warlock. Warlock, some people thought was one of the stronger classes. How did you come to approach this challenge? Why did you end up picking Warlock?
I was thinking mostly about what hero power combines the best with the neutral minions, because you have a lot of variety there. Also thinking about, I guess, overall, what would be the possibilities in terms of, Warrior has 2 or 3 possibilities to be played, Mage has 2 or 3 possibilities to be played, and the same with Warlock. So I felt Warlock was probably the most versatile when it came to that. The class cards are relatively strong. There's not as many bad ones as in many other classes. Like, I felt also like the curve was a bit spread out, compared to, I guess,
Yeah.
Rogue or something. You have all the way from Mal'Ganis to, I guess, Voidwalker or Flame Imp or something like that.
Yeah,
So.
there are some strong cards. What do you think other players would be choosing? Do you think a lot of other players would play Warlock as well? If so, maybe you'd consider Sacrificial Pact?
That's actually a good idea, yeah. I think if I were to pick the second one, I'd probably go with maybe Mage for the Flame Strike. I think that'd be excellent. Also, Water Elementals, a lot of flexibility. Maybe Hunter should be good as well. See that doing really well. So.
Well, I'm the one who designed the challenge, and even still, when I was looking through your decks, I was surprised that I actually missed some of the powerful cards. Like, I think because people have to play just early game to defend themselves, a card like Deathlord is often going to be surprisingly powerful. So I'm very happy that you included some of these very powerful cards. But we did notice, as we have with some other players, you do have some mistakes. You have the double Worgen Infiltrator, which will be Salty Dogs. You have the double Annoyatron, which will be Stormpike Commandos. Lothebs become Core Hounds, but Void Callers become Priestess of Elune. That is a little bit of a hit, indeed. How do you feel about that? Are you crushed?
Not really. I knew about the Annoyed one at least. It's
Yeah.
just a case of, you know, you're really going back and forth quite fast. So you make a decision. Okay, when I include a working, that's like a medium, I guess a mediocre card. So, but then you don't have the time to go back and actually change it. It was kind of a more, you know, three
Yeah.
ideas going at once type of thing.
I think because you're playing Warlock, it's more forgiving than other classes. Other classes are punished by mistakes more so, because with Warlock, you can often afford to float a few cards, especially if you're playing a slow deck. But you did kind of nail the three type of decks. So I think your basic approach is very good. You know, Warlock being a very good class, and then you go with the Zoo, you go with the Handlock, you go with the mid range. What do you think specifically after maybe the edits that you will have to make to your decks? How do you feel these decks line up? Like, do you think there's like a stronger one? Do you think there's a weaker one? Are you maybe afraid the weaker one has some issues in the Conquest format?
I think the handlock shouldn't be too much affected. I think there's no card twice in the handlock one, so that should be good. I think with the Zoo, I had a pretty low curve, so that should be more forgiving. I mean, I can possibly, you know, afford to have some later game cards, but I was planning to go a bit aggressive with the Zoo deck, so guess I'll play more mid-rangey then, and then with the mid-lock, it should be okay. Like, I think that won't be hit the most, I guess, the mid-lock.
The mid-lock.
We could have a mid-lock, yeah, while the Zoo kind of just slows down and the handlock remains unaffected.
Well, I do notice that in the midlock you have some cards that often win the game by themselves, and this is kind of like a big deal, I think, in this type of format where you may not have the best answers. Like, you know, even if they're playing Mage, Polymorph isn't one of their decks, right? So, you know, cards like Floating Watcher can just like, steamroll the game, and you know, it does provide for some interesting stuff. So. Yeah, I do agree. It may be a little bit of an issue, but I think overall, you definitely still got a pretty good chance in this. Do you fear any of the other opponents? You are playing Trump to start. He almost won the last one. How do you feel you'll end up in this tournament?
I'm pretty positive of the deck building. I mean, I think the idea is good. I think what Thorir said recently in an interview was very, I guess, on point. You have to have a plan with each one of your decks, you know, and I feel like I have a plan with each one of my decks, so kind of know. Yeah, I think I can go back to that if things go wrong, you know. So I'm definitely quite confident. Yeah, not fearing one player over the other. I think Trump is going to be a great opponent. I'm looking forward to play him. So.
All right. Well, let's see how that's going to roll out. I wish you the best of luck.
Thanks.
All right. Well, definitely a few mistakes here. Very cool to see that Trump is so happy to be playing 3 Warlock decks, but he did make a mistake here. Loot Hoarder in both Demon Dragon and Zoo, so a couple salty dogs for him.
Couple salty dogs. I mean, it can't be that bad in Zoo. I really think it's a good card in a deck where you're winning. Like, it's 7 attack that they probably can't remove.
Yeah, I guess if you're winning, it wins more because it's 7 attack and it's not that much mana. So, I mean, I think you'll be able to make
not
it
that
work.
good. Probably not that good in Demon Dragon though. I don't think that deck needs a third archetype.
It doesn't. It's not Demon Dragon Pirates.
No,
that's
it's not.
for sure.
It's not. But Kaldi ended up dropping the bomb a little bit more here. He is going down to Core Hound. Okay, so he's going to have 2 Salty Dogs, 2 Stormpike Commandos, 2 Priestess of Elunes, and 2 Core Hounds. He made the mistakes. Oh god, this is a little bit hard to track. In a random order as I see them, he has 2 Void Callers across different decks. He's got one in Handlock, one in mid range.
That's a painful card to lose.
Yeah, that is a painful card to lose. I believe he has Anoyatrons twice. He just got one in mid-range and one in Zoo. What else does he have? I believe he had Lotheb twice. He has Lotheb in Zoo and in mid-range. That's another mistake. And I believe it was Piloted Shredder as the last one.
Ow.
Oh, no, it was Void Caller. Right? Or did I say Void Caller?
Oh,
I
you
said
said Void Caller, yeah.
Okay, I don't know. We're seeing
Anyways,
Core Hounds. Let's see
yeah.
some Core Hounds. Let's go.
And look,
Yeah.
Core Hound is, you know, if you're already winning and
No.
you play a Core Hound, you probably can't deal with it.
It's a good try, but I think Core Hound is actually a dud. I think that was like kind of the range. I feel like Salty Dog is all right. It's obviously not good, but these cards like have to be not good because if someone makes a mistake, both cards get replaced. So if you put in like 2 Piloted Shredders, both your Piloted Shredders become Salty Dogs. So the cards on that list can't be that good because if they were, then you'd run into the issue of people like deliberately making mistakes to go around the mistake mechanic.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think Salty Dog is a good fit. I think Stormpike Commando is a good fit. I think Priestess of Elune kind of sucks,
Yeah.
but Core Hound is where you need to not make that 4th mistake.
Well, Kaldi made that 4th mistake.
All
I don't
right.
know how many I would have made. It's a tough one.
It's a tough one indeed.